Hey everyone, let's dive right into this explainer, because today we're talking about something absolutely crucial. We're going to discover why earning millions of dollars won't actually save you if you don't understand the foundational rules of money. Think about it. We spend years, literally decades in school learning how to prepare for a profession just so we can make money. But, surprisingly, almost no one is ever taught what to do with that money once they actually have it in their hands. We end up trying to build these massive financial empires on, 6-inch concrete slabs instead of deep, solid foundations. Well, today, we are going to build that foundation. So, what's really fascinating about this foundational stuff is a story from 1923. Picture this: 9 of the world's absolute richest business titans met at the Edgewater Beach Hotel in Chicago. We are talking about the real giants of industry here, the heads of the largest steel, gas, and utility companies, plus major stock speculators. Yet, incredibly, 25 years later, most of these exact same men were completely bankrupt, imprisoned, or had tragically taken their own lives. You kind of have to ask yourself, how does that even happen? No way, right? Well, the source material points out it was the Great Depression, sure, but more importantly, it was a complete lack of true financial education to weather those massive economic shifts. So the huge takeaway from their tragedy is that money really just highlights our human weaknesses. If you don't have a rock-solid financial foundation, more money is actually just going to compound your problems. We hear it all the time, right? Lottery winners who hit the jackpot for millions and just a few years later, they're right back where they started. Or professional athletes making millions in their 20s, only to be totally broke by their 30s. If your internal financial pattern is wired to spend everything you earn, well, an increase in cash just means a massive increase in spending. It truly, absolutely is not about how much money you make. It's entirely about how much money you keep and how many generations you keep it for. All right, moving right along to Section 1, Defining True Financial Freedom.
And that builds right into Section 2, the only rule you need, which is the KISS principle.
So to achieve true freedom, we've got to keep it simple, stupid. A wealthy mentor in the source material actually taught this to 2 kids by completely throwing out all the confusing accounting jargon. The rule is incredibly, almost painfully straightforward. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket, while a liability takes money out of your pocket. That's literally it, the whole shebang. Rich people acquire assets. Poor and middle-class people acquire liabilities. But, and here's the kicker, they mistakenly think they are acquiring assets. Let's look at the story the numbers actually tell us here. Up top, we have an income statement, and down below, a balance sheet. Notice the flow. This illustrates how an asset works by feeding directly up into your income column. Basically, the asset is a little machine that generates cash and puts it straight into your pocket, without you having to do the heavy lifting. Now, in stark contrast, follow the path of a liability. See how it starts in the liabilities column and actively drags money right out of your pocket through the expense column? It's a constant, ongoing drain. Understanding this cash flow is kind of like reading a story about exactly what a person does with their money the second it touches their hands. For example, take the cash flow of a young person just starting out. The income comes in from a paycheck and boom, it goes straight out the door through the expense column to cover those basic living necessities. Rent, food, clothes, transportation. There is absolutely zero activity in the asset or liability columns. Every single dollar that comes in goes right back out just to survive. And here's where the illusion of wealth totally traps the middle class. Income comes in from a job, right? But instead of buying assets, they buy liabilities they falsely believe are assets. We're talking expensive cars, boats, or big houses. Notice how the flow dips down into the liability column before shooting straight out the expense column as consumer debt. Their hard-earned income is just diverted straight down into massive ongoing expenses. It's a real trap.
But man, look at the cash flow of the rich. It's a game changer. The flow doesn't even start at a job. Their asset column is literally like a deeply rooted tree. It's built so well that it automatically generates all the income needed to fund their entire lives through dividends, interest, rental income, and royalties. It just sits there and provides shade without needing their daily exhausting effort.
Okay, so let's get specific. Welcome to Section 3, the house liability trap. We're going to start with a classic story here. Imagine a hardworking young couple renting a small apartment. They feel pretty good, saving money because their living costs are shared. As they focus relentlessly on their careers, their income steadily rises. Things are looking fantastic. So, what happens? They decide it's finally time to stop renting and buy that dream home to start a family.
But unfortunately, as their income goes up, their expenses surge right alongside it.
They buy the house, which brings a brand new massive expense, property taxes. Then comes a new car, expensive new furniture to fill those bigger rooms. You can see the upward trend in the expense column perfectly matching their rising income. The money is just flowing right out as fast as it comes in.
And here is where the trap just snaps shut. Truly believing their home is their greatest asset, the couple consolidates their debt against their house. They honestly think they are being incredibly smart, but they are completely oblivious to the fact that they've just converted short-term consumer debt into a 30-year financial rat race. As the golden rule goes, when you find you have dug yourself into a hole, you've got to stop digging.
So how do we get out? Let's talk about Section 4, breaking the rat race. To break out of that exhausting cycle, you literally have to consciously stop accumulating liabilities disguised as assets. Remember, financial literacy is all about knowing how to manage the money once it's in your hands. So what should you be buying? Real assets. We're talking stocks, bonds, income-generating real estate, and intellectual property. Think about it. If you lose your job today, a true asset will still put money in your pocket tomorrow. Your house, on the other hand, with its mortgage and property taxes, it's just going to continue to take money out.
Now you might be wondering, why do so many smart, highly educated people fall into this trap? Well, the source material shares this really fascinating piece of Japanese folklore. It speaks of three powers: the sword, the jewel, and the mirror. The sword is the power of weapons. The jewel is the power of money. But the mirror? That's the most valuable of all. The mirror represents self-awareness. It's having the courage to actually look at yourself and ask, does this make financial sense? Instead of just blindly copying your neighbors out of a fear of standing out. Psychologists even say that the fear of being ostracized, the fear of not going along with the crowd, is exactly what keeps people trapped in standard, poor financial habits.
So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to reflect on today as we wrap up this explainer. Are you letting societal fear and that crowd mentality trap you in the rat race? Are you buying things just because, well, that's what everyone does? Or are you going to use your inner wisdom, look right in that mirror, and start building real assets today? The choice, and honestly the entire foundation of your financial future, is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep learning.